Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning again. Sorry about that. Just something happened which I cannot talk about it. But anyway, hopefully we will have no interruption for this live stream. So what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna give call to brother who called in. If he's there, we will continue our conversation. If he's not there, then we will just continue without him, which is pretty shame. But anyway, so okay, so the what we had is Brother Charles was talking about Sahih Bukhari 661,510 hadith, and he was asking some very basic question on 2 points of Sahih Bukhari. Let me actually so we will just pick up in that 2 points. I'm sorry that things just didn't go the way it's been planned from the previous live stream, but by the grace of God, this should be fine. So let me put the hadith again on the screen, and our Skype ID is still on the screen. If anyone wants to call in, please do so. Okay, so Sahih Bukhari 4,985, or Sahih Bukhari volume 6 is the sound okay? Can I just get quick confirmation for the sound? Peace of Christ be with you, our church. Thank you very much for all the way you are serving our crucified and risen Lord. I'm guessing sound is okay. I always take the silent as yes, even though I know it takes 20 seconds for you to 20 seconds for you to hear what I am saying. So, Sahih Bukhari, Volume 6, Book 61, Hadith number 510. So let's read it together and then ask very basic question which we were asked. Hudafa bin al-Yaman came to Uthman at the time when the people of Sham and the people of Iraq were waging war to conquer Armenia and Azerbaijan. Hudafiya was afraid of the people of the Sham and Iraq, differences in the recitation of the Quran. So he said to Uthman, someone is coming to Uthman and telling Uthman, this is what he's gonna say. O chief of the believers, save this nation before they differ about the book. Save this nation before they differ about the book. Uthman at this stage is Caliph, and other guy is the from the war. Umar is not even, Uthman even not aware what's happening, okay? Person X comes to Uthman and then says, save this nation before they differ about the book, before they differ about the Quran. There is already lots of issues. Like that statement by itself tells us only within 20 years, this is taking place around 650s. Muhammad died in 632. First Quran is being compiled 634. And this is taking only 18 years after that, okay? Within 18 years, people are going to Uthman and saying, save this nation before they differ about the Quran. As Jews and the Christians did before. So Uthman sent a message to Hafsa saying, send us the manuscripts of the Quran so that we may compile the Quranic material in perfect copies. So Miss Hafsa at this stage has already got the Quran. That's the Quran which was compiled under the Abu Bakr. Miss Hafsa, would you be kind enough to send us the copy which you have? What we want to do is, from that manuscripts, we want to make copies. We want to make copies of the Quran. And then return manuscripts to you. When we look at the Islamic tradition, actually we see Hafsa didn't want them to get the Quran. Hafsa didn't, like Hafsa said, like, I will give this Quran to you only if you return it back to me. That was the only condition she had. They couldn't burn her copy on the moment she died. Soon after her death, her copy is being burned according to Islamic tradition. O chief of the believers, save this nation before they differ about the book, as the Jews and Christians did before. So Uthman sent a message to Hafsa saying, send us the manuscripts of the Quran so that we may compile the Quranic materials in perfect copies and return the manuscripts to you. Hafsa sent it to Uthman. Uthman then ordered Zayd bin Thabit, Abdullah bin al-Zubair, Sayyid bin Alas, and Abdurrahman bin Harith bin Hisham to rewrite the manuscripts in perfect copies. 4 family members of Uthman is going to rewrite the Quran in perfect copy, which Quran is already being written, by the way. The Quran which is already being written is going to be rewritten in perfect form. And it goes on. Uthman said to the 3 Qurayshi men, in case, if you disagree with Zayd bin Thabit on any point in the Quran, then write it in dialect of Quraysh. I am putting 4 people here. If these 3 of you disagree with this Mr. Zayd, what I want you to do is, I want you to pick the Quraysh dialect. That already tells us there was an expectation. Only within 18 years, there is a problem in the Quran. There is a problem with the Quran, and there is a holes with the Quran. There is a holes in the Quran. If they disagree, what they need to do? They need to write the dialect of Quraysh. Of course, some of you probably already thought, how come in 7th century, while Arabic is not fully formed, if any of you remember, yesterday we looked at some of the manuscripts, they didn't have any dots. Arabic has not been fully formed. Therefore, they shouldn't have the dialects yet. But what is Uthman is saying is, if any of you disagrees with Zayd bin Thabit, what you do, you write the dialect of Quraysh. Why? Because Quran is revealed in their tongue. So if it is dialect, okay, the way you just pronounce how you say it, why do you need special attention? Why do you need special attention how to write it if it is just a pronunciation? Writing should be the same. Bukhari is writing this 250 years after. In time of Bukhari, Arabic is fully formed. Therefore, Bukhari is saying in 7th century they have a problem with the dialects. What are they going to do? They are going to use the dialect of Quraysh because Quran is revealed in this dialect. If Quran is revealed in the dialect of Quraysh, why those 4 individuals already might have problems? Or basic question is, if Quran is revealed in the dialect of Quraysh, what is wrong with the Miss Hafsa's Quran at the first point? All they needed to do is, you've got 4 people, let's simply copy and paste from what we see from Miss Hafsa's Quran. But that's not happening. While they are putting that together, they are going to have problems. Problems and problems and problems. For us to fix those problems, what we are going to do, while Zayd bin Thabit is the one who learned the Quran from Muhammad, we will not go with his version, but we will go with the dialect of Quraysh. Because Quran is revealed in their tongue. So the what is it, like the dialect which was not existed in 7th century, and according the Islamic Dawa gangs, it is just a pronunciation. That if there is a disagreement, that pronunciation needs to be written down in the dialect of Quraysh. It's already problem. It's already problem. In case you disagree with Zayd bin Thabit on any point in the Quran, then write it in the dialect of Quraysh. So not like turn to the half-size Quran, but write in the dialect of Quraysh. The Quran revealed in their tongue. So they did so. And when they had written many copies, Uthman returned the original manuscripts to Hafsa. Uthman sent to every Muslim provinces 1 copy of what they copied and ordered all that other Quranic materials, whether written in fragment manuscripts or whole copies, to be burned. So Islamic tradition is kind of, Allah knows, nothing knows best, disagrees regarding how many copies have been copied and then sent it to the cities. So you've got 4, and then this goes on to up to 9 different cities, okay? 4 to 9. Whatever you pick, whichever you pick, minimum number is 4. So we should able to have that 4 copies in somewhere. And then what Mr. Uthman does is, he ordered that all the other Quranic materials, written in fragments or whole copies, to be burned. I'm just gonna make another call to brother who was on the line with us. I don't believe this is personal, that he's intentionally not picking up my phone. Hello.
Hi, sister.
Peace of Christ be with you, brother.
Peace of Christ be with you.
I'm sorry for earlier. A couple of things just happened without my control, but we are back.
It's good to be back.
So I just read the hadith, which you pointed out. Can you please express your concern, if you had any concern, or what is the problem in this beautiful hadith, which simply tells us how Quran has been perfectly preserved?
Oh, this is a favorite hadith of mine, but I don't get it. I don't. There are things in it that I don't understand. So, okay, I see that you have some of the sentences underlined. So, um, Uthman said that they were supposed to make perfect copies, like a photocopier, like just copy it into a new mushaf verbatim, not change any words. But then in the next sentence, he says, but in case you disagree, then go with the Qureshi dialect. But I don't understand. If they're, first of all, why do they even need four people? If they're just going to copy it, that would only take one person. Just copy it, just read and write it down. But
Or
now Uthman's talking about disagreeing and going with I just don't understand. If they're going to make a perfect copy, why would they be discussing making changes to it?
so or someone can make easily case, actually you need more than one person to make the perfect copy, because once person A writes it down, person B can check it out. Okay, so that makes two people. Why there are four people? Because they are all in laws of Uthman. So Uthman needs to keep like nice relationships with them. So probably therefore he just says, okay, my in-laws, let's get you involved with this Islamic community. Take some responsibilities. That might be the one of the reason. I don't know. And also,
Women. If there were two women, then a second woman could look to make sure the first one wasn't making a mistake.
yeah, but in here I'm just like thinking more practical. So one person is like writing it down, and then you've got second person is checking it out to, like proofreader. But yes, the question of four people is already questionable. Plus you already got Miss Hafsa's Quran. So Miss Hafsa's Quran needs to be copied, because that is
Perfect.
the earliest one, okay? 18 years before this one. And she's been holding on that copy for a long time. And now, if you disagree regarding in any point, what you do is you go with the dialect of Quraysh.
But Hatun, do you understand my question? How do you understand perfect copy? A
I
perfect copy.
understand perfect copy in a sense of dot by dot, letter by letter, sound by sound, word by word. It's
So
exactly the same what was there.
what room is there for disagreement?
But we are talking about Islam, brother. There will be room for disagreement.
If you're going to copy it, all you have to do is write down what's there.
I know. But Uthman says, if you disagree, he doesn't even say if you disagree, use Hafsa's Quran. He says, or stick with Hafsa's Quran. He says, if you disagree, you write in the dialect of Quraysh. So it wasn't perfect. And to make the perfect, still there will be disagreement. There won't be perfect. It won't be perfect at all.
So that means that Hafsa's Quran was not perfect?
That's how I am interpreting. Because if that Quran was perfect, it would be just copy and paste. And you wouldn't need to say, oh, if you disagree, go with the dialect of Quraysh. You wouldn't say that, because you would simply say, actually, there is no disagreement. All you've got to do is just write this down.
So if Hafsa's Quran was not perfect, that means it wasn't perfectly preserved.
It wasn't perfectly written.
Isn't that a problem?
Why would that be problem, since Islam is perfect religion with the perfect book?
It's just very confusing for me.
Okay.
Can I ask about something else that I don't understand?
Um, okay, but just beware, like we are talking about Islam, there will be lots of things we don't understand. And those are the questions we ask our Muslim friends to explain it to us.
I mean, this whole hadith confuses me from top to bottom. So it says, Uthman said to the three Qurayshi men, in case you disagree with Zayd bin Thabit or Tabit. Okay, so is Zayd bin Thabit one of the three Qurayshi men?
Yes, Zayd bin Thabit is Qurayshi. And others are
No,
Quraysh.
I don't think he is. Look, Uthman said to the three Qurayshi men. The three men who are not Zayd bin Thabit are the Qurayshi men, right? Uthman said to the three Qurayshi men, if you disagree with Zayd bin Thabit, then go with Qurayshi. But wasn't Zayd bin Thabit one of the companions of Muhammad?
He was one of the companions of Muhammad, and he was the younger than Ubay bin Masud when it comes to his Islamic studies and his memorization of the Quran. And he's the one which Muhammad said. Muhammad gave 4 names to take the Quran from this. Zayd bin Thabit is also one of them. In certain
So who are these other three guys? I've never heard of them before.
they are the in-laws of Uthman.
So Uthman said, if you disagree, go with my in-laws who weren't companions of Muhammad instead of Zayd bin Thabit.
So Zayd bin Thabit, I just googled this, okay? I kind of stand corrected according to Sheikh Google. Zayd bin Thabit was from Ansar. He joined the ranks of the Muslim army at age 19. Muhammad's passing, he was ordered to collect the Quran. So he was from Ansar.
So he was a companion.
Yeah.
And these other three were not
So other three are Uthman's in-laws.
in-laws. So like family.
Yeah, like married to his daughters.
So Uthman said, copy the Quran perfectly, Hafsa's Quran perfectly,
Yeah.
perfectly. But if you're going to make changes, go with three people who are in my family who weren't companions of Muhammad instead of going with Muhammad's secretary.
Yes.
I see that as problematic.
Why?
I mean, the whole thing, my brain freezes up. If they're going to make perfect copies, then they shouldn't need to consult. But if they're going to consult, they should consult with one of the companions, or even better, with Muhammad's personal secretary.
So you would expect lots of things a problem in this hadith, okay? The first problem is why Hafsa's Quran is not simply being copied instead of like edited and discussed and changed. That's the first point.
Mm.
Second point is for them to put together the perfect Quran, which was already existed. Okay? Like Hafsa's Quran was supposed to be the first perfect Quran. for them to put together the perfect Quran, why they are not putting together Zayd bin Thabit, Ubay bin Ka'b, and Ibn Masud together? Like, why these four instead of the other four which Muhammad said take the Quran from? Okay? Another problem. Three of those four people are not mentioned as Muhammad is addressing the community whom he's pointing to the Quran for. Okay? Those three people are not the ones I need to go to take the Quran from. And then if they disagree with the one whom we're supposed to take the Quran, don't believe what he says. Don't go to Zayd bin Thabit. Don't go to Hafsa. Don't go to others. Make the decision to write it in the dialect of Quraysh. So that's another problem. And in the time of in time 650s, we do not have the dialects yet. Because for it to be dialect, you need all the dots, all the vowels. In 7th century, Arabic was not fully formed. Even in 8th century, early manuscripts are without dots and consonantal dots, and they are developing as the time goes on. So that's another problem. So then the perfect copies of the Quran to be perfect, then there is a problem of what is the Islamic understanding of the perfect is. Because according to the Islamic understanding of the perfect, you need make decisions and disagreements and then choose something else to make something perfect more perfect. So therefore, I hear that you are struggling to make sense of it, and I'm struggling to make sense of it, but I've been asking those questions at the corner last couple of years and I don't have answer. All you get is like, oh, you are hate preacher when you ask those very basic questions.
Well, Hatun, to repeat something that you often say, I'm very disappointed. I was I was call I was calling in hoping to get an answer to my question, and I'm afraid I'm leaving even more confused.
Okay, that's okay. That's absolutely fine. I hope you are living with more questions, and I hope that even though I disappointed you, you do know that Lord Jesus Christ, eternal Son of God, is not going to disappoint you.
Amen.
Okay, and those are very basic, good questions for us to ask Muslims. Like other thing is like, why there is already problem in the Hafsa's Quran. Because if you read the other traditions, you are going to see after this, with this, Muslims are still editing the verses into the Quran. It wasn't in the Hafsa's Quran. So man is remembering what's supposed to be there 18 years after that. And another big problem in this hadith, like before even you come, it's in the top. I am afraid people are going to, there is a difference in the recitation. Save this nation before they differ about the book, like the Jews and Christians. That is very big problem. And this is all because Muslims were calling one another in this battle as disbelievers because of the way Quran is being recited. Like just first two sentence has big theological problems as well.
Well, for me, it's really the last sentence that is the nail in the coffin. I don't understand on what authority Uthman took the Qurans of the companions of Muhammad and burned them.
You would expect from that, like Muslims are very proud of that, by the way. Are you aware of it? Muslims are
No,
very proud of it because they think if the other copies were around, there would be lots of mess. So we wanted to authorize and control what was put together. So it is something they are proud of it. But from that, you would expect that they don't have any problem when someone tries to harm the Quran. But they do have serious problem with that.
but does that make sense? I mean, at least Muhammad talked to like some angel in a cave. And at least Muhammad's companions talked to Muhammad. But like who gave Uthman the authority? I've just never seen this anywhere. Who gave Uthman the authority to burn the companions, the companion of Muhammad's, to burn their Qurans, to destroy them, to get rid of them?
He got that authority just being the chief of the believers, being the caliph. So he never spoke, like even in the part you are focusing, like if they disagree, it needs to be written in the dialect of Quraysh. Even in that thing, like hadith doesn't state when where Quran reveals in 7 different ahruf. Hadith doesn't say it has been revealed in dialect of Quraysh. Hadith doesn't say that. So he himself makes a decision that the Quran revealed in dialect of Quraysh, while Muhammad talks about no, it is revealed in 7 different ways. So whatever those 7 different ways was at the time of Muhammad, it seems Uthman is getting rid of that by burning everything and making a decision that we've got to write it in the dialect of Quraysh. So that is like another problem. And yes, it is like good question to ask, who gives anyone authority in the mind of Muslims to burn the word of Allah?
Of the companions.
Yeah,
The earliest copies, the best copies, the most original copies.
yeah. But for that, you need to think like they need to think, yeah, earliest are the best. They don't think that. Controlled one is the best. And other question in the same lines, who give Umar, Caliph Umar, Hafsa's father, authority to put certain verses into the Quran? Because are you aware that like there are 3 verses made into the Quran because of Umar? Umar come up with the idea, he went to Muhammad, and then Allah revealed those verses. Allah never spoke to Umar, as well as Allah never spoke to Uthman. Gabriel never spoke to Uthman. And neither Allah, neither Gabriel steps in this occasion and then tells Uthman off. They all stand back and watch as third caliph burns the word of Allah. You would think like it is precious something you would hold on, but no, they decide to burn it.
Hatun, I don't want to overstay my welcome, but can I ask one more question?
Sure. But I know you are going to be disappointed again. Just keep your eyes focused on Son of God. Yes, brother.
The Lord Jesus Christ, amen. Um, okay, so supposedly the Quran was given in 7 different, what's the word we use?
Ahruf.
Ahruf.
Yeah.
Okay, but then Uthman destroyed everything except for Hafsa's Qurans and the new copies that presumably differed a little bit
No,
from Hafsa's.
that's not fully true. But finish your statement. Yeah.
Well, I don't understand. He
So
took
in
Hafsa's.
the time of Uthman, we didn't have the Hafs Quran.
No, 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 no. I said Hafsa.
Oh, Hafsa.
Hafsa.
I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, Hafsa is Quran.
Yeah, so he took Hafsa's and they used it to come up with a new version
Yeah.
because we know there were differences between what they create the committee of four people created. There were some differences, right, between that and Hafsa's Quran.
Yeah.
Okay, and then he returned Hafsa's Quran to her and destroyed all other Quranic fragments or even complete Qurans, it says, whether in fragment or in whole. And okay, so didn't he destroy 6 out of the 7 Ahruf?
So, couple of points there. Um, he, the reason he couldn't destroy Hafsa's Quran, because that was the only condition Hafsa was willing to give her Quran. So they waited until Hafsa dies. Hafsa died, and then they took her Quran and then they burned it. Okay, it has been done after the death of Hafsa. Uthman
That's
couldn't do
called
it.
that's called that's called destroying the evidence.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess I don't know how it is where you are, but in UK, I'm assuming you should be going to prison for destroying the evidence. Um, so like they couldn't touch her Quran. The moment soon after she dies, they burn her Quran as well. So that's according to Islamic tradition.
Very suspicious.
I know, I know. So seven Quran is being revealed to Muhammad in 7 ahruf. Okay, there are lots of different ways of interpreting what is this ahruf mean. Okay, are they just a recitation? What are they? But the bottom line, according to Sheikh Yasir Qadi, and many other people would support it, we don't know what ahruf is. Only Allah knows. Okay? So dialect or whatever it is, we don't know what it is. That's the bottom line. But we know it was revealed in the intention after Muhammad begged to Allah that all my people are not clever enough, they wouldn't able to remember one version, give them different versions. After that beg, Allah gave Muhammad 7 ahruf. Okay? Something happens that ahruf is in a way causing individuals to have doubt in their faith. So think like this. You are Christian, brother. You believe Jesus is the eternal Son of the Father. Okay? But I am disagreeing with you in a way it is going to cause you to have doubt in your faith. So that means I would probably say, which I don't believe, but let's say Jesus is not the Son of God. So in that way, like it was causing, I was saying something which was making you to come and attack me. So it was causing that much problem in the Muslim community, whatever that ahruf was. Even like Muhammad struck Ubay bin Ka'b from chest because Muhammad noticed that Ubay bin Ka'b, whom people need to take the Quran from, was having doubts. People wanted to grab one another and fight with one another because of this thing called ahruf, because the way things were being recited or verbalized or pronounced or act differently. So that was like something very noticeable and very problematic. And then you come, that takes place like before 632. You come to 650s, and then suddenly, this is with the Muslim interpretation, because Muslim interpretation is going to say to you, ahrufs are the different dialects. That's what Muslim is going to tell you. With their interpretation, if it is the different dialect, then yes, Uthman gets rid of it all. He keeps only one, and that is the Quraysh. Then the question comes, or the problem arises, Was Allah stupid at the first place when he met with the begging of Muhammad to give 7 different ahruf or 7 different dialect? Let's go with the Muslim interpretation. Was Allah so stupid that Allah couldn't see within 20 years Uthman is going to get rid of it? Was Muhammad stupid enough to not tell Uthman, Quran is, I know you are my father-in-law, I love you, blah, blah, but Quran is revealed in 7 different ways. So in the future, when you compile the Quran, keep it in this way, because Muhammad was beating people for that. But what we see with the Muslim interpretation, in time of Uthman, he gets rid of all others and then keeps only one. That's the dialect of Quraysh. So therefore, we shouldn't have any different Arabic Qurans. But anyway, that's like another point. Does it make any sense to you?
When you finish all of this, I'm just really glad I'm a Christian.
You are glad. Why?
Because this is so confusing. I mean, how can a person of the protracted group look you in the eye and say with a straight face that the Quran has been perfectly preserved?
That's how they do it. They look into your eyes and then they say, you are a liar. Quran has been perfectly preserved, dot by dot, letter by letter, sound by sound, word by word. There is only one Quran. And if I am lucky, they might blink once or twice. Otherwise, they just look into your eyes and they say it.
It makes me sad, to tell you the truth.
But I think bottom line is this. This is only one hadith. This is only one. And like you kind of look into the how Quran is being compiled, it is more messed up. Word of Allah very much messed up. But they seriously need God. They seriously need something to be hold on for their future, for their hope. And Islam within just in one hadith with lots of problems is not going to help them at all. And you already expressed that you are disappointed that how I respond, because I don't have answer. Muslims are giving to me that I am satisfied, so I can give it to you. And Muslims are very much welcome to call and then answer your very basic questions. Like you are not asking anyone scholarly question. Like you are not asking someone to give you the name of the stars or explain quantum physics to you. You are just asking very simple question from the customs of Muhammad. And disappointing that we don't have answer.
Well, thank you, sister. I'm going to go, but maybe a Muslim will call in and answer.
Okay, we keep your questions then, and then we will be asking them. Do you mind repeating your questions once again? If anyone wants to answer, they are very welcome to call in and answer.
Well, there were kind of a lot of questions, so
Focus on
the
the basic ones.
Okay, so my basic question that started this whole thing was Uthman gathered a committee of 4 people, 3 out of 4 of which were not companions of Muhammad. Zayd bin Thabit was. He was actually, if I understand correctly, Muhammad's personal secretary. And he said he gave them a very simple task. Take Hafsa's Quran and copy it. Copy it perfectly. Give me a perfect copy. But then he said something else. He said, but if you guys disagree, go with the 3 people who weren't companions of Muhammad and write it their way. Write it in that dialect. So that was my central question. What's up with that?
Yeah,
It seems like a contradiction to me. Either you're going to copy it perfectly without any outside interference, or go ahead and form a committee and you guys discuss it and come up with the
better ways.
best the best Qureshi version.
Yeah. Okay, that will be the one of the question we will be asking if anyone wants to call in and just answer this very basic question. So, brother, thank you very much for calling in. As I said, I am sorry that you are disappointed by the answers I given to you. But remember, Lord Jesus Christ never disappoints us. So keep your eyes on Him and let Him to open the eyes of your heart. So focus on Him, brother.
Thank you, sister.
God bless you. So that was Brother Charles. He's asking very simple and very gentle, basic questions because he just can't make sense of it. So if any people of the protected group wants to answer these very much basic questions, please do call us through Skype and then help us to figure out. And also I guess there will be like very much something very basic. If you are answering the question about have Quran very much messed up, you will be using Islamic tradition to defend that, not just simply attacking the Christian scripture to defend how awful, disturbed, and corrupted your scripture is. So please have that mindset in your mind. Let me bring this to our attention once again. So the question, kind of, let's think through for the evening is if and Peter is putting up question as well. So if the Quran is going to be written in the dialect of Quraysh, because that is the way Allah revealed it, then that brings up the point that Hafsa's Quran or Abu Bakr's Quran, because that was the first Quran, that wasn't in the dialect of Quraysh. Of course, we are all thinking like, we do know they didn't have the dialects, all those kind of things. Because Arabic was not fully formed, they didn't have the vowels in Arabic. But sake of the argument, let's say they had it. Then first Quran was not put together in the dialect of Quraysh. Abu Bakr, when Abu Bakr asked Zayd bin Thabit to put the Quran together, where Zayd bin Thabit says like, oh, I can't do it, how can I do it? Something Muhammad didn't do it, all those kind of things. It is very heavy work for me to do it. Like, they didn't even think about the dialect. Whatever this so-called magical word dialect is, that was causing people of the Sham and people of Iraq, to call one another disbelievers. And that was a problem. If any of you in the chat or who will be watching this in the future have not subscribed to our church YouTube channel, please do so. There are very good Bible studies in that channel. Please do so. And I did express in the past, my personal life is no one's business. Whatever happened, what happened, it is no one's business. Control yourself, whoever you are, but as you are controlling yourself, can you be double kind and then answer this very basic question of the Quran we are asking? A perfectly preserved Quran should not have any diacritical marks in it. Correct. Depend on your claim. Because perfectly preserved Quran, there are lots of issues with that. Today, that's different interpretation versus that was different in 7th century, and that was very much different in 1300s. And that's very much different in the tablets Allah has with him. Does the perfect preserved Quran, should the perfect preserved Quran have abrogated verses? Yes or no? If it is yes, why some of the abrogated verses are not in the perfect preserved Quran? If it is no, why some of the abrogated verses are in the Quran? Is the perfect preserved Quran with this worldly view or with the tablets which Allah is holding up there? Very simple questions, and it is all so-called very much perfect preserved Quran. Yes, we can talk about the historians of the Quran, where they come from. Actually, like it's been in my mind for last couple of years. I haven't done it, but I went through all the so-called these golden chains of Hafs Quran, as well as golden chains of other different Arabic Qurans, to see how much they are really golden chain. So we should be going through all of them to just make point. Actually, whatever line you pick, whatever line you choose, Quran cannot be trusted. So I'll do that in probably one point before I die or something. To like distract. We did write a blog on that actually in the past. Please do not bring my personal life or things in the chat. That like doesn't matter. Those things are not our focus. These things are not our focus. So what we will do is we have to finish this live stream very soon because I've got something in 8 minutes. But what we will do is we will probably pick up this topic, and then we will also ask the similar questions again and again until we get answer which not only Christians are not disappointed anymore, but also Muslims are not disappointed anymore. We will ask the questions again, until we get answer which can satisfy us as non-Muslims, also satisfies Muslims who has been told lies for centuries. So keep those good questions in your mind and ask your lovely Muslim friends. Just one hadith each time. Surah Hadith Bukhari 510. What is the understanding of perfect in Islam? Check those things out, and then hopefully we will have question answer session another time. And I am setting up these open Skype nights especially for those of you who like really call me middle of the night or call me very inappropriate hours, so that you call and you've got voice here instead of like screaming and shouting at me on Skype. So if you seriously think I am misrepresenting Islam or my questions are awful or all other things, this is the platform you to come and express that. And everyone will know how much like I am, everyone will know how much I am lying, all those kind of things. It is great opportunity for you to come and expose me. Not only scream at me in private in Skypes, just not helpful. So that's the reason those open Skypes are on. Gives to give you opportunity. So if I were you, I would hold on the rights I was given. I know that in somehow you don't like that much giving rights, but this is kind of, I'm just being nice person and giving you more opportunities to make your case and defend the undefendable Islam, defend the undefendable Allah, defend the undefendable word of Allah, and defend the undefendable Muhammad. You should be very, very proud of it. You should be very proud that there is opportunity for you to come and do so. Anyway, so there was a comment in one point. Anyway, it's just jumped so quickly. Anyway, we will probably pick that up. We will probably pick that up. Anyway, thank you very much for everyone who joined us, and I apologize that something happened. It was not in my control. Hopefully, I'm working literally very hard to make sure those interruptions doesn't happen while I am doing business. But as I said, it's not in those things are not in my control. So I apologize for the previous live stream. I think I will make that one private so that it doesn't get anyone's attention, and then this will stay up there so you can kind of learn. You can ask the basic questions which was asked. I'm not sure why Mr. Bilal is telling me stop being disrespectful. I'm very kind and gentle, and all I did was reading the Sahih Hadith and asking very, very basic questions. How can that will be disrespectful? Are you telling me Sahih Bukhari is disrespectful? Are you telling me Mr. Uthman, who burned the Quran, who burned the word of Allah, is being disrespectful? Are you telling me when they broke people's hip, when they intentionally caused holes in the narrative, they are being disrespectful? Because all I did was just like pass the message. I'm just a messenger. I'm not disrespectful. If the things I'm saying is disrespectful, all I am doing is just like taking what they're saying. It might be beneficial for you if you think this is disrespectful. Just simply get in touch. Simply get in touch with your Muslim scholars and then ask those very basic questions to them. And then ask them why they are being disrespectful. And then another way is you can do is if you are not happy with the Islamic sources and if you identify Islamic sources and your prophets and your Sahabas as disrespectful, run away from them. Leave Islam. Leave those disrespectful Sahih Bukhari. Leave this disrespectful Uthman. He should be stoned. He should be stoned. But he was able to get away with burning the Quran. He was able to get away with them. So, get rid of all those disrespectful people, individuals, and the ideology. And when you run away from them, when you give them up, the one you need to turn is Lord Jesus Christ. His arms are open, while holds in his hands. He wants you to turn to him and repent. That's all he's asking. That's all he's asking. So, do favor to yourself and do favor to everyone else. Give up this ideology. Islam is not only dangerous for non-Muslims, but Islam is very much dangerous for Muslims as well. Muslims are calling their scholars, their experts as disrespectful. So, and on the comment on the Bible, of course, as a Christian, I believe Bible is the perfect word of God. Bible is the perfect word of God. In that note, God bless you all. We will see you probably tomorrow evening. If that doesn't happen, we will see you on Sunday at Speaker's Corner. And if that doesn't happen, we will see you at the bosom of the Father. Beloved ones, may Christ crucified silence you with his love. And dear guests, may Christ crucified bring you on your knees so that you can turn to him.